Welcome to Creator Upload, your creator economy podcast. I'm Lauren Schnipper.
And I'm Joshua Cohen. Lauren.
Yes.
You were out in the wild this week.
I was. Fans were coming up to me. So true story. So I went to the Future of Influence conference, which is put on by The Information. This is the third year I've gone. I think it's the fifth year they've done it. It's basically like one day in LA, kind of like the industry track at VidCon. So it's all the executives in one room. But what's great, first you walk in and you're like, oh God, this is like a high school reunion, because it's everybody we know from like ever in this space for the last 15, 20 years. And you're just like, oh, it's a lot. But it's actually like the most efficient, honestly, of the conferences that we go to, that I've been to in years, because it's just, you get it all done in a day. And it's exhausting, but then one gets to go home or go to their hotel room or whatever. But this year it was only half a day, which I think a lot of people were lamenting. I'd argue to say maybe that's a reason you didn't go. And as you know, I texted you when you were there, when I was there, saying like, you should have come, because it's just, I live in Los Angeles on the East Side. I have friends, not just colleagues and people in the industry, that live on the West Side that I literally never see unless we are forced to all go and meet in Hollywood at this conference. So it was really great. Saw so many people. And they, of course, Kaya Yuriev, who sort of runs the creator economy piece of The Information, was kind of front and center. And they had a bunch of different panels. They had Kim Larson from YouTube. Of course, we've had it on the podcast. Dart Mann was on a panel. They had one of the heads of product at Meta, and somebody from John Deere. Did you know John Deere, the like tractor whatever company, is like they're blowing up on this in the space. And they have I learned all about like agro influencers, like not agricultural or ag influencers, I think is what you call them. Agriculture influencers, which of course is a thing, obviously.
For sure. And we see those agro influencers and lots of other niches come up a lot in terms of the data we're getting at Gospel Stats through the sponsorship of these kinds of creators. Because as this industry has evolved and these niches have a minimum viable threshold of viewership, it makes it really appealing to advertisers that play around in those kinds of niches.
All right, yeah.
So before, if you were a microprocessor for computers, you would advertise on, whatever the monthly publication was, like PC Weekly or PC Monthly, or some type of esoteric magazine that only got delivered to computer shops back in the 80s or 90s.
Esoteric for you, but not for those that love a PC. But go on.
Of course, yes. But so now, thousands of those types of creators on YouTube. Yeah. And at least dozens of them in whatever niche you're kind of marketing towards or playing around in, that get this minimum viable threshold of viewership that makes it appealing for advertisers to advertise on.
Yeah, no, pick your poison, man. They're all there. And so, that was really interesting to see. I think the most kind of notable panel, or I should say fireside, was Kaya interviewing Evan Spiegel, who came. And it was a wide-ranging interview. There were some awkward moments where his face was turning what I would call beet red. And so, but a couple things that I thought were really standout sort of things that he said was that, Snap, and this won't be a shock to those that kind of listen to this podcast, but Snap is also, is not, even though they're at like 900 million sort of users, they're unlike other platforms like a Facebook, it's not been growth at all costs, right? Like it's not been, just, which is arguably is certainly in the first, I would say, decade of Facebook, that was kind of like their mission. They're very focused on the durability of a relationship. So one of the metrics that they are sort of touting to creators is repeat viewers, which I haven't heard that much about from other platforms. So really getting to know who those folks are that are coming back and viewing your content, which is really, I think, smart and interesting, and speaks to that sort of, durability and, strength of a relationship. And I think that, we know that on like a TikTok, for example, a platform that's only on has shorts, is like there's very little durability of a relationship. And it's very, just one off, and they don't really get to know their creator. So this Snap's allowing you to understand like who are your fans are really coming back. And he talked a lot about Snap Stars and how they've really kind of focused on, that to really like make it a place where creators can make money. So the durability and the strength of relationships of fans to creators is a very kind of something that he was discussing a lot, and what he thinks separates Snap from other platforms.
That's really interesting that they're giving creators access to those kinds of metrics. YouTube has a proxy for this, in views from subscribers and views from non-subscribers. And if you've ever watched any YouTube video where the creator likes to advertise subscriptions for their specific channel, you know this because at the beginning of the video, typical gamer does this. I mean, tons of creators do this. But at the beginning of any given video, they'll put up a little graphic that says a bunch of you aren't subscribed. It's usually like 70, 80% of the viewers of the channel are not subscribed to the channel, which is fascinating. So you combine that metric maybe with this repeat viewership metric, and you can get a real sense of who's coming back to your channel and maybe these other people that you can, I don't know, for lack of a better term, upsell or up-engage in your content in some capacity, even though they're not subscribed. I think that's a really cool, interesting metric that other platforms should adopt. It can be really useful for creators just trying to get a better, deeper relationship with their audience.
One of the other things that he was talking about in terms of the way creators are making money is that there's a lot of shopping going on Snap, but it seems to be more like going out to the creator's own, like, you know, sort of experience. And Kaya asked if there were plans to make like a TikTok shop style sort of experience, and he said that not really at this time. Is that in the plan? He talks a lot about. Somebody asked a question about, you know, wearables have not really, you know, taken off, like arguably, and why are they sort of still like, you know, focused on the glasses and all that kind of stuff. And he just is like, he was talking a lot about like how they really like to build for developers. And I think it just speaks a lot, again, to this notion that they're just trying to build great products and not necessarily just like just for scales, you know, the sake of scale.
Lauren, do you buy that build for developers line? Is that just an out because his Snap lenses were first to market and the Meta Ray-Bans are presumably crushing them? And the fact that they had this really cool drone camera called this Pixie came out years ago. Do you remember this thing?
I kind of don't, actually. No.
It was this drone camera by Snap. This is when Snap was coming out that it's a camera company, right? It's a lens company. It's not a social network. It's not a messaging app. It's a camera company. So they came out with the lenses, and then soon after they came out with Pixie, which is this flying drum camera that follows you around. They basically discontinued it and dropped all support for it last year. And it was really cool and ahead of its time. So I get this sense that Evan's really innovative. He sees where the future is. He's maybe a little too early to it. But saying that he's creating these products for developers, that seems like a little bit of an out.
I mean, you're probably right. I mean, but to your point about him being innovative, I mean, like he's been copied the world over. I mean, as we know, I was at Instagram when we were about to launch Stories, and it was the most, you know, kind of like intense, high pressure launch that I was ever a part of because of the clear sort of ripoff from Snap. But what was genius about the roll up that I take zero credit for, shout out to the comms and marketing team, is that from the second it was launched, it was like, kudos to Evan, kudos to Snap. They created a great thing. We realize that we need to have it here too. Whereas I think historically the move would be like, I don't know what you're talking about. This is just a thing we came up with. And what do you mean? And so, and that was very unusual at the time, that you would admit right away that this is something that we like ripped off from somebody else. So yeah, to your point, he's always been really innovative and probably ahead of his time. And like, who knows? I mean, you're talking about how they were positioning, and I do remember this when Snap was sort of positioning themselves as like a lens kind of camera company. And that's not the positioning that he was taking the other day. I mean, he was talking about when he created Snap, he did it because he felt there was a real need for a more ephemeral experience on kind of the internet and with social, and speaking to the messaging, because obviously Snap is, I think, most known for like that's where teens communicate in this very ephemeral way. And he said that, you know, he felt like that was not out there. Everything was like meant to be out there forever, and that was really scary to, you know, kids, which I think is true, whether or not that, you know, but that's sort of the marketing, what he's focusing on now, like why it was created, and that was the push. So the inspiration, I should say. Yeah. So do I buy it? I don't know. Like this is like when Mark Zuckerberg, you know, a couple years ago was like, Facebook's always been about creators, and it was like, do I fall off my floor because I'm laughing? You know what I mean? It's just like, what are you talking about? Like, no, like what? And so, you know, marketing, it's great. Lastly, he sort of talked about, and Kaya noted, and he admitted to, that he's been putting himself out there a lot. I guess he was on Cohen and Samir's show recently, Diary of a CEO, and he was like, yo, it's hard to make content, but he's like, I got to get out there and I got to do this. He's doing a lot of things on LinkedIn, and he's really trying to put himself out there to have the experience of a creator and recognizing that it is not easy.
I wonder if this is a shock to people internally at Snap, similar to the fact that when Zuckerberg said Facebook's all about creators, it was laughable to you. Because I feel like there have been people at Snapchat who have been like advocates for creators the whole time and just given a little bit more buy-in.
Of course. Obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, the answer to your question is yes.
Yeah. Hey, everyone knows which way the wind is blowing now.
I mean, everybody always knew.
They just didn't want to admit it?
No, I'm joking. They didn't always know. They had no idea. They were focused on what they were focused on. No, they didn't
You and
always
I,
know.
Lauren, were so
Jesus Christ.
prescient in this. Amazing.
Let's just look at us. No, I stepped in shit, to be honest with you. It was because of the last writer's strike. I realized that because of this writer's strike, that the reason I'm in digital is because of the last writer's strike. It was like, fine, I'll age myself. It was 2008, and I had decided, I had turned a certain age, and I was like, I was doing stand-up, and I was like, I can't do this anymore, man. I can't stay up late. Like, what are you, out of your mind? And so I was always producing. As we know, I started in Broadway producing, and then there were no jobs to be had in quote-unquote traditional. So I started making web series, and then learned about these YouTubers, and I was just like, I'm gonna eye on the prize. People were like, oh, you should go to an agency and go work in the mailroom. And I was like, I'm not going to, I will work for nothing, but I want to actually make stuff. And so I did. And then I fully stepped in shit. And like, I could tell you, I mean, the part that I was smart about was just not having an ego about it and just being like, no, these people want to make stuff. I'm going to make stuff. I'm going to do that. But it wasn't like I was like, oh, I know that this is going to be the biggest thing in the world and it's going to overtake traditional media. I mean, I'm going to tell you, like, if I interview for a job with you ever that I did, but like the truth is like, I just worked hard and like saw people that wanted to make stuff. And I was like, I'm going to make it with you and I'm going to prove myself.
I think early on, we all knew that there was something here.
Oh,
we had different visions of what it would look like. Like for us, we thought with the advent of basically zero cost distribution through YouTube and all the older video sharing sites that were around back then that have since ceased to exist by and large, and this prosumer editing and film equipment. Remember when prosumer was a word?
Yes.
Everything's just consumer now.
Yes.
Professional.
Yes.
But prosumer was an identity for lots of people when they were going to the technology store and buying stuff.
Yeah.
And they had the tools to create things. There's a finite amount of space in Hollywood. There's only 24 hours in a day. There's only 4 hours in a day of network programming or so of actual quality entertainment. And with this new expanded universe of online, a lot more people that should have been in the Hollywood ecosystem were going to be able to be in the Hollywood ecosystem because it expanded the real estate that they could occupy.
In my early days, the only thing that I knew for sure is this. I knew the fans were real. That was like one of the early things that I did was produce a really sort of crazy short film with Shane Dawson that was Halloween, sort of for Halloween. And he was working with a company at the time, and they were like, we're going to do a screening at the Pacific Design Center, which is this big, giant building in Los Angeles, and they have a screening room. And he tweeted, and 1,000 kids showed up. Yeah, and I was like, I had never seen that before. And I'd been working with quote unquote creators, but they were called YouTubers at the time for a couple of years, but like I'd never seen the fans like that. And so when we then went out to sort of like, cause he wanted to make movies, and we would get the meetings with like the studios, and they would just kind of be like, oh, you're cute. Okay, come back. Like, no, like all this kind of stuff. I remember one was like, they were like, wanted to do something with us, and we had a bunch of meetings with them, and they're like, okay, you can go crowdfund, and then we'll like let you like work with us, and you raise the money. And we're like, we can do that without. Why do we need you to crowdfund? We want you to put the money in this. And then we'd be walking out the room, and they'd be like, cool, could you just take a selfie with like, for my kid and sign this and da da da. And I'm like, what, like that was what was driving me insane. It's like, I knew, like, I was like, can you guys not see the disconnect here? Now, did I think it was going to overtake the way it has and become this thing? No, of course. But I knew that the fans were real, and I knew that was like, I was going to lean into that. But I think early days, I probably thought it was more just like, because what those YouTubers were at the time were like definitely just for kids. There was no finance influencers or agriculture influencer. Like I didn't think it was going to necessarily expand the world over into every single category, but like I knew this was real for kids, and like there was like that. I was bullish about that. So
those old network execs sound like a character in a Greek tragedy.
I have told this story before. I was at VidCon my first year at Facebook when I had done not even a huge activation at the time. We had done a big Instagram activation, but not a big Facebook activation. And I was there with a colleague who worked on the film and TV side. And this person said in front of me to my boss, this is where the failed TV and film executives go when they can't get a job. And I will never forget that. And I don't even begrudge that person, because this is somebody I still like. But this person then cut to like a year or two ago, calling me up, trying to get me to help them get a job in this space, which I happily did. I will never forget. And I'm like, I'm standing right here. I'm literally right here. And it's just, I mean, that was the thought. It was like, oh, you guys are cute. Okay. We'll see. Okay. You do your little thing on the internet. All right. We're going to be over here making movies. And like, by
To
the
be
way,
clear, there's still that definitely,
oh
but
yeah,
way
it still
less.
exists, but it's way less. And by the way, I'm not here advocating for like the end of, TV and film. Like I love movies. I love going to see movies. And I think things I'm nervous about is like, it's so hard to make a movie now that like, the sort of certain levels of storytelling are going to become obsolete. And that makes me really sad. But, anyway, all this to say, once again, I think the point of all this is that I'm a genius. I knew this was happening, and wow, right? Like when you think about me, just wow.
Same.
Yeah.
Same, but a little bit more.
Yeah. Totes.
A little bit more for me.
On to a big story. So Ulta Beauty, which of course Ulta, Sephora, like big rivals, big beauty store, has always really leaned into creators. But now what they're doing, which is really cool, is they are imploring their employees and paying them to make content for the products that are there, which I think is actually kind of sort of genius. So the store associates get paid to post 2+ videos per month. They get PR packages, paid trips, social media training. Creators have gained some of these creators have gained like tens of thousands of followers since doing this. And it's actually performing better than influencer partnerships, likely because they know the products really well. And it's just kind of genius because I'm sure these are like a lot of really young people that understand the internet really well. It reminds me a bit of early days BuzzFeed, when BuzzFeed early days would like let their sort of staff not just create content, like just write articles or whatever, but they're like, Matt Bellassai is a famous example where he was doing his like wine about it, where he'd have a glass of wine and, schmooze and talk shit on camera. And he became a creator in his own right. The issue with that, and I don't know what the deal is with this, is that those creators, BuzzFeed then were tied up within BuzzFeed. So then they became really big and they couldn't do anything with it because it was like all owned by BuzzFeed. And that was like sort of, I think, a really big miss for BuzzFeed because they could have worked more with them as opposed to trying to own everything. This, I have a feeling that they're not doing that at all because I just think that this day and age, you can't do that anymore. So I think it's super strategic and really, really interesting. And I think it speaks to what we've been talking about for a long time, that every company is going to have to sort of lean into some sort of version of social. And like, instead of necessarily just having the like CEO do it, who probably like has no idea what they're doing on the internet, like let your staff do it, like talk, be proselytized for your products and your sort of company. And I think this is sort of genius. What do you think about this, Josh?
I'm so surprised other companies haven't done this sooner. I think the best example of this, which now seems so obvious for any consumer brand with a brick and mortar space to adopt, would be Peloton. So Peloton's trainers have become bona fide celebrities online.
For
some
sure.
with hundreds of thousands, even millions of social media followers.
Yep.
And Peloton probably at first shied away from that, or maybe got excited about it, then shied away from it, then got more engaged and excited about it when they saw that these instructors could be huge draws for the platform and create a lot of stickiness for the platform too. And I think they've been able to retain the people as instructors on Peloton because they probably have really good competitive salaries now, probably get some stock options, different types of bonuses there too. And these Peloton instructors are free to do other types of brand deals and endorsements. Obviously things that aren't competitive, but they can go off and do whatever they want. And Peloton is now a vehicle for them to have a more influencer lifestyle that can be more lucrative from all these other types of deals that they're getting. So I think to the extent that they can, Ulta's doing the same thing and other companies should follow suit too. Like, why aren't there hundreds, if not thousands, of Home Depot or Lowe's influencers?
No, it's, oh my gosh, it's so true. It's like, so Stacy Koblenz, who's the associate manager of this ambassador program, said to Glossy, "We knew we had an untapped superpower with our store associates. They know what's happening before we do." Because they're literally on the ground there. And then Amy Bayer Thomas, Ulta's chief retail officer, said, "Our associates are really the heartbeat of what we do. Our associates post and engage on all sorts of different social media platforms. And last year we said, my gosh, our biggest advocates and those most passionate about what we do are our associates. So we stood up this influencer program." It's so smart. They said 1,500 associates applied. I guess they have about 50,000 total around. They've only accepted 30 staffers for this first cohort, and they range in position from cashier to store manager. One of the associates, Jen Rodriguez, who's a general manager in Michigan, she said that we get to engage with the team on a whole different level, and I can feel that they respect us and value our inputs in so many different ways. It's so smart. It's like, it's basically you're getting like field research from the people in your stores, and then they're advocating for you. I just feel like this is such a smart move too, in terms of like getting young people excited about working at Ulta. It's like so many companies are, and listen, I'm sure, and like as evidenced by they had 1,500 applications, only 30 in this initial class. Like you have to, pass a certain test, and they need to make sure your social media is not crazy and all that stuff. And but like a lot of companies, you kind of don't embrace this, and they go the opposite extreme where you have to be really careful about what you post and all that kind of stuff. And they don't want you to, go off and speak about the brand without very specific talking points and that stuff. And there was a little bit of talk about that too over the weekend, over the other day at the Information Summit, just, again, talking about, no big surprise, that the creators like working with the brands, and they get the best, results with the brands that, really allow the creators to do their thing. And you're not so precious about the approvals and like having to go back and forth so much. And like, this is just, they're letting them sort of, not run wild, but really like speak. I mean, I was going to say you've been to an Ulta, right, Josh? But like, I've been more of a Sephora girl, but like these people, you walk in, these associates, I mean, they're TikToking the whole time. So like, let them do their thing. Sephora is also another brand that I can't imagine isn't going to lean into this, because they've been also really great with creators and knowing how to work with them. I'm obsessed with this. I love it. I think it's so smart.
Another area where this could do really well, although the average age of the employee seems a little bit higher, would be department stores. They're so specialized in kind of like menswear, shoes, fragrances, jewelry, and more. And again, like you said, they see tons of foot traffic every day, at least in New Jersey. Brick and mortar retail is alive and well in New Jersey.
Oh my
ladies
God.
and gentlemen.
It's in Glendale, California. It is too. I'm like, what do you mean malls are dead? I'm like, I cannot. You try to get a parking spot on a Saturday in the Glendale Galleria, forget about it. It's like insanity.
Sidebar, American Dream, the second biggest mall in America, is located in Bergen County in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Bergen County, notoriously a blue county, which means that non-essential stores are supposed to be closed on Sunday. However, American Dream just said all stores are open 7 days a week, because we're not technically on county land, we're on Sports Authority land.
Oh, wow.
For whatever the Sports Authority Commission is from New Jersey, because they're in the Meadowlands next to MetLife Stadium. So it's a huge deal. But 7 days a week shopping in Bergen County.
The malls in New Jersey are no joke. I went to high school in New Jersey. The Freehold Mall was my mall, Freehold Township Mall. Oh, that was a good one.
You drive around for 5-10 minutes to find parking.
Which one? The Freehold Mall?
Any of the malls.
Oh yeah.
It's wild.
I mean, it's crazy. Anyway.
In any case, department stores would be keen to pick this up too.
I don't know. I think more the specialty. I liked your Home Depot idea. That they should lean into that. That's
100%.
Genius. Like, yeah, I think specialty one's great.
Toy stores? You kidding me? If those exist anymore?
I mean, I was gonna say, like, where was live? There's a Toys R Us section in Target now, because they closed all the Toys R Us's. So
yeah, it's a little cry. Small tear.
Okay, next story. Big, interesting survey came out from Looper Inside saying that 2/3 of U.S. consumers see YouTube as a realistic destination for movies and TV shows, which is just funny coming off of the conversation we just had. They surveyed 1,150 U.S. consumers about their media appetites, and 66% of that cohort said that YouTube has become a reliable source for the sort of long-form content that was previously confined to TV networks and subscription-based streaming services. Do you know that what my new obsession is on? I'm just deep in this rabbit hole on YouTube. I used to be a lot of like, I watched a lot of carpool karaoke. Like, it was just like, I don't know, that was like in my loop or whatever. Now
sure.
I'm deep
it's Broadway
in
adjacent. That makes sense.
Yeah, thank you. I'm deep in the Dave Ramsey universe. I don't know if you know who Dave Ramsey is. He's that, been around forever, financial kind of dude. His whole thing is just like, doesn't believe in credit cards, debit cards, and, just getting how everybody's just like, he doesn't believe in taking out loans and all. Anyway, it's very extreme, but it's also smart. And then within him, he's got a whole universe that he's created. And there's this guy, Dr. John Delaney, and it's like one of those call-in shows where people are just like, okay, how do I repair my marriage after I slept with my mother-in-law? And like, I can't stop. And then the shorts, and then I go to the luck if it's a good one. And like, my husband just told me he's not attracted to me anymore because I gained all this weight. I'm like,
I thought they just talked about financial issues. They talk about that stuff too?
No, what I'm trying to tell you is that he has a whole universe, and Dr. John Delaney is underneath it. And oftentimes, and he's in that world too. Like, if finances come up, like, he will give the same advice. And sometimes he does the same show, like a show with John Delaney. And so anyway, I can't stop. And it's like I've gone through phases where I go into these like when years ago I had a subscription to Sirius XM, and I was listening to like the Dr. Laura show. She's the one. There's two Dr. Lauras. There's like the sex therapist one, who she was good, but then also there was the Dr. Laura who was just basically telling all parents they were terrible like parents, and I loved it. So like before I have kids, I'm like, yeah, you tell that kid, and now I have kids. I'm like, she doesn't know what she's talking about.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. This is where I'm at with my YouTube consumption. So not really watching long form TV on YouTube as much as long form call-in therapy shows. Your thoughts on this survey?
So Lauren, these numbers are not surprising if you've been paying attention to anything that's been going on in the entertainment industry for the last several years, including the fact that YouTube maintains the largest share of TV viewing among media companies for the third consecutive month. That was for May 2025, where YouTube once again had 12.4% of TV usage by media company. Number 2 is Disney at 10.7%. So just wild, this force that YouTube has become in the entertainment ecosystem. But I do still feel like people are reticent to watch what they would consider like traditional or regular television programming on YouTube.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you. Do you think that there's going to be a point in the not so distant future where there is going to be a real television program, in quotes, that just gets released on YouTube that looks, acts, and feels like it could be
there already
on...
has been. Cobra Kai was already. I mean, there's many. It's already
I know,
happened.
but so that was looked at now as a failed experiment.
It was. So you're asking me if it's ever happened. Do you think it's ever going to happen and it's going to be successful?
Yes. Is it going to happen again?
Yes, I 100%. Yes, definitely. Especially with this, with the connected TVs being the fastest growing surface on YouTube, because it might even just be something where like it only exists if you watch YouTube through TV, because they know that like people, that's an experience that people will want, and then they'll be like, okay, now it's available on mobile too. You know what I mean? Or desktop as well. 100% with the connected TV numbers, which is the fastest growing surface for YouTube. 1,000% it's going to happen.
So when do we think that's going to happen, where a major player opts not to go with some type of network or some type of traditional streamer?
I think we'll hear in the next couple of years, as these numbers for connected TV continue to grow, we're going to hear major partnerships with places like Disney and other, sort of studios with YouTube that are going to, that's going to be step one. And then I think we're going to see another sort of round of like an original production kind of department crop up at YouTube within the next like 3 to 5 years. There's no way they're not going to do it. And these things are cyclical. Like it didn't work, to your point, it did not work, Cobra Kai and like all that sort of stuff. And Cobra Kai then went on to Netflix and like has this, it's still going. I think they're in the last season, but it's been like several seasons and it's gone really well. 1,000%. There's no way they're not going to do that, because it's people. Listen, at the end of the day, like people want good content, and it's all converging and it's all going to be one. It's like what's old is new again. We're paying for it differently, but we're all paying the same amount. The amount of subscription services that I subscribe to, I am not in any way, shape, or form saving money versus like having cable. Like I am very likely spending more, and it's absurd. I mean, I kudos to people that like start and stop subscriptions based on the shows that they watch. But like, I mean, the only one I don't have these days is Paramount, but it's like Disney, Hulu, what else? Peacock. I love Peacock.
You're a Peacock girl.
I love Peacock. I don't know what to tell you. Apple TV. Am I missing anything? I don't have like I've toyed with like BritBox, because you can imagine I love like all the British things, but I don't have that.
I start and stop now constantly, and do you know what the unlock for me was? 1Password or any type of password manager.
I have one. I use LastPass. Yeah.
So easy to start and stop.
Yeah, no, it is. But then it's like, oh, I gotta resubscribe the whole thing. But those are the 4 that I subscribe to. And then I have my brother's YouTube TV, because he came here one time and logged in, which I kind of like better than Hulu. But like it's like, I don't know. I just keep my Hulu, because
YouTube TV is fantastic. It's just too expensive for the quantity of television I watch.
Because he does it for the sports, because they had the NFL Pass. That's why he did it. Yeah.
I bought to watch the NBA Finals because I thought the Knicks were going to be in the NBA Finals, but the Knicks aren't going to be in the NBA Finals. I still might use it to watch the NBA Finals. I just bought a digital antenna.
So we had one. You mean to get just
regular terrestrial TV?
We did that like when my husband and I first moved in together. We did that. We had an antenna, and the quality of the picture was fantastic. I remember.
The quality is incredible. I hung it up with the kids as a little after-school project one day. We
Sure.
turned it on, and we then watched Wheel of Fortune for the first time all together.
Oh.
And their eyes exploded. They were like, "What is this?"
This is what I'm
This is
talking about.
terrestrial TV.
This is what I'm talking about, Joshua. Kudos to you for like doing something with your hands in person. I mean, it still ended up with a TV and like a screen.
There was a
but,
screen
like,
involved.
Yeah, there was a screen involved. Like, I'm not crazy. I'm screen involved. Obviously, it's your children. I was talking about you. Something came up at the information something, and I was saying how you are only connect with your children on the screens. Anyway, the point is, congratulations. I'm proud of you. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you. It's a big step.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. Okay, let's get to some uploads and downloads here. One of the uploads coming out of the Information Summit is one of the people that was interviewed on stage or did a fireside was CEO of Substack, Chris Best. And he said that there's more than 50 people on Substack making over $1 million a year. I think that's an upload. I'm a fan of Substack. It's actually the only platform that I have notifications turned on for. And he was talking about in real detail about how they have spent years trying to get you the content that you really want in a way that's just really thoughtful. And I think that they're doing a decent job. My personal anecdotal experience is they're doing a decent job. And I have a lot of high hopes for Substack. I feel so it's an upload for me that people are making money there. And I think it's a good thing. And I have a lot of hopes for it because I just feel like it's a social platform in a sense, but it's like doesn't make me feel gross after being on it for a while because I don't know, I'm reading for most of the part. You know what I mean? So just totally. Like I feel like reading is better. And so that was sort of an upload for me. I liked that. Josh?
Lauren, I got an upload for you from Scientists of America. So at least 200 of them from orgs like NASA, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, the United States Geological Survey, and the National Science Foundation have banded together to not only share research on YouTube, but also fundraise on YouTube in light of government cuts from the Department of Government Efficiency, aka DOGE. So organizations like NASA's Goddard Institute for Space Studies, which was founded in 1966 at the height of the space race and worked on the Voyager program, were one of the casualties of Elon Musk's DOGE department and was ordered to shutter by May 31st in what NASA called an, quote, attack, end quote, on the agency. So some of these scientists are taking matters into their own hands, going to YouTube to fundraise and share research. You just like to see it. You like to see it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, listen, I can't speak to what should have happened, shouldn't happen. I'm definitely somebody who like has experienced, a lot of inefficiencies in the government, and I definitely feel like it needed a refresh. And some of these departments really were, created years and years ago, and the world has changed. And, for example, we're not in a space race, but I think that this, research is really important. And so, I think for better or worse, YouTube is an outlet for that. So for sharing that kind of, content and scientific findings. So I don't know if that's an upload or a download. One we'll see. Time will tell. All right, Josh. I'm going to see you soon in France. Can you believe this?
Just 2 weeks away. Hit us up if you want to talk in Cannes. info@creatorupload.com.
Yeah. As a reminder, Josh and I are going to be doing the podcast there. We are official press at Cannes. This is less of a shot for him since he actually is like in the press. For me, I'm like, oh, me too, great. And so we'll be in the sort of press area room. I don't know if they're going to put us in some dark hole, but we are going to be interviewing people, companies and platforms and creators that are going to show up there and tell us how they're feeling about working with creators at Cannes. So we will be there, and I'm very excited about that. So yeah, so if you're interested in meeting up or chatting at Cannes, oh, by the way, one of the biggest, this is upload/downloads, one of the biggest flexes when I was at the Information Summit was people who were like, oh my God, because so basically Cannes is happening whatever Monday through Friday, and VidCon technically starts on like Thursday. So the biggest flex was like, oh my God, I'm going to be in Cannes and I have to fly right back to LA to go to VidCon because I like have a panel there too. And it was just so funny to me that people are just like, oh my God, I know it's going to be so crazy because I like have to be at both. It's like going to be nuts. So I really enjoyed that flex. So thank you for those people that did that, and you know who you are. And I am not going to go right back. I'm going to stay in France and eat some fromage.
I'm looking forward to it, Lauren. By the way, it's called the Palais. We're going to be at the Palais.
We're going to be at the Palais. Thank
you,
Josh.
On some dark room somewhere. We're going to be at the Palais.
Oui, mais bien sûr. On est dans le pied. On ira la Palais. I don't know. She's
As
rusty,
a certified self-advertising francophile.
She's
Come
rusty.
on.
She's rusty. She understands. Je comprends tout, mais je parle. God.
Oh, gosh.
Whew, it's going to be rough. Just give me a little, but Prosecco and I'll be fine.
It's called rosé.
A little rosé. I can't. Okay. God, it's been a while. I haven't been to France in so long, in over a decade. It's so crazy. Josh, I think we did it.
Lauren, I think that's it. I'll see you petitioning Air France for a direct flight from Cannes to the John Wayne Airport, so you can make that Cannes to VidCon Connect real quick.
Yeah. We're going to get a PJ going. Yeah.
If not there, next week on Creator Upload. Today's show was produced by Lauren Schnipper, Joshua Cohen, that's me, and Adam Connor. It's edited by Adam Connor too. Original music is by London Bridge. You can check him out on Instagram at London Bridge Music. Make sure you subscribe to Creator Upload right here on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts, as well, Spotify, or wherever you're listening. While you're there, give us a rating and leave us a comment. If you want to talk, hit us up at info@creatorupload.com. If you like our show, recommend it to a friend. If you love it, just tell everyone. Thanks for listening to Creator Upload, and we will be back next week.